All right, welcome to episode 26, 27 of So What Do You Know About Business? This is the Happy Hour podcast where five, we're slowly dropping off women entrepreneurs are supposed to be drinking. Like, we have gotten so lame. A, we don't show up. B, we're sick, not drinking. I have coffee because I'm like about to fall asleep. So we've become lame. This was supposed to be fun and drunk time, and instead I'm like ready to take my NyQuil and go to bed. All right, so this is a portion where we go around the table and tell everyone who we are, what we do, and you don't have to say what you're drinking because I have an answer. I already know what it is. So Chandra, we'll go to you first.
Hey guys, please excuse the formal attire. I too am not feeling very well. Um, so I am drinking Soda Club, or just Club Soda Seltzer as we call it in New York. And you can find me at com, and I'm in the process of getting my first real big Kickstarter out there tomorrow. By tomorrow, which should be fun. So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Yay, so it's gonna go live tomorrow? Yay.
Yeah, it's gonna go live, but I would have liked there to be some trial runs, but I'm in cahoots with my sister, who it's kind of like the double-edged sword of hard to give certain advice to. So
Yeah.
because it's like family and business, and it's just like, this is your first launch, and we should be A/B testing a lot of this stuff, and it's just kind of like, all right, well, we just need to, that push, which is good to have that excitement, but uh, she doesn't know what goes into the back end. So, and I'm doing the commercial and everything for it. So like so I'm doing like the creative part as well, which is just been a big undertaking and not feeling well. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it'll be great, make it so. And if not, it's just a learning experience, and we'll try again. It's a good product, so.
Well, and you have to post, like, I'll share it out, like, let me know, and
Yeah,
get
we'll
it
we'll
shared out.
definitely get it all out there, but it's just like I just like things to be a certain polished level, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think I think a lot of I mean, we're going off. Well, there's three of us, so I can talk
Yeah,
more
you can
today.
talk a little bit. We'll give you
Um,
2 more minutes. Just kidding.
um, yeah, it's interesting on this that finding, because I am like, I've always done like the design part of things and the back end of a lot of stuff and the technical, to see like what somebody just starting out doesn't really realize how much work goes into writing copy, writing
Yeah.
scripts, all the steps that go into basically a launch, right? I mean, not basically a launch. I mean, it is what it is. So. It's hard trying to bring somebody up to speed who's never gone through that before, and also do the work for it. And I was just like, all right, well, this will be fun, but throw in an impromptu road trip to Arizona, and here we are.
Yeah, you can't be bored. You gotta make it exciting. That's how I look at it. All right, Taylor, how about you?
Okay, so I am Taylor Stevens, freelance copywriter. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, I do copywriting. I was going to say writer and marketer, but like copywriter fuses the two. That and pursuing dancing and acting out in LA. Tweet me at TaylorJoy315. Are we already talking about our little lesson?
I'll introduce myself quick, and then you can go. I'm
Okay.
Erin. I'm with the Starters Club over at thestartersclub.com. I help people start and grow businesses. That's it. All right, Taylor, you can go with your lesson.
Oops. All right, unmuted it. Well, first of all, I was gonna say yes, I can like totally feel what you're going through with trying to get someone up to speed, Chandra. Especially someone that may not like, and you're really tech savvy, so I can't imagine, like, that's a whole other story probably. I don't know how tech savvy your sister is, but even my sister, I'm like, you need to do this and you need to do it now. So I understand the frustration, but I hope yours isn't that way.
Yeah, my little she's so she's 8 years younger than I am.
Same with my sister.
And yeah, and so it's just awesome. But like we have this like quasi parent sister relationship, and then B, she's a teacher by trade, so no tech, zero, nothing at all.
Yeah, crazy. So this week, it's so funny. A couple things have been going on in my little universe, I guess, but I've met some really cool people, and I really feel like the stars are slowly aligning for my plan. But it's really cool, like, just when you put yourself out there and just like let people know what you're doing, like how the response can be. And it's all been in the industry, so like with acting and dancing, like I've made 2 really cool connections that have mentioned, offering me opportunities. So we'll see what is to come of that, but the fact that they were responsive and just like, I don't know, I guess positive, a positive like interaction with them just like really inspires me and just makes me want to keep like putting myself out there to people. And that's been really cool. Besides that, I've had I feel like everything always happens at once. Like besides that, I've had like somewhat of a soap opera, like relationships, love life, stuff like that. So it's crazy. Like everything's like stirring at once. So I can only imagine like, I don't know, there has to be some type of like assimilation. But I don't know. That's what's been going on for me this week, and I don't know, I have to be like patient with the opportunities, but at the same time I'm like, ooh, I really want to find a way to make like some more money, or even just like, I don't know, working more in the industry and maybe like saving money on other things, like saving money on dance class if I do like work for them, or you know what I mean, like in a studio, or there's all kinds of opportunities. So like I really need to, I feel, hone in on that aspect of it, just because it's hard living in LA.
So are these like opportunities like utilizing your copywriting expertise and business expertise to help people? Because I know the last one you're talking about was a startup. And
and I don't know, I feel like that dropped off a little bit. I tried to reach out like a few days ago, and I never got a response back. So I don't know, I could reach out again. Maybe I will for the heck of it, just to see, and I'll probably get my answer. But if not that, like I feel like just seek out opportunities elsewhere.
So what do you think you want to do? Are you just like trying to work to maintain while you keep taking classes and try to go? Are you trying to split, or because you kind of seem like you're spreading yourself thin, you're kind of all over the place, like in what you want to do and stuff?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I guess, like ideally I want to like combine my skills and talents together. Like that's the ideal thing. It's hard because
how would you do that? Like, what's the plan?
Well, the one opportunity that I was kind of referring to just now is there's this work-study program for this dance studio, and this guy is like a pretty well-known choreographer in the industry, and I could apply my marketing and writing expertise, I guess you would call it, to something that they needed in their business while being able to take class and not have to worry about the expense of it.
That's what I would do. I would like go in and like pitch some of these. Like, you obviously know marketing, you know like how to grow. I would just like do proposals. Hey, you need this, 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 and this. I can do those for you, and this is exactly how I'm going to do them. They might not even know that they need it, and then bam, you've got a connection, not just the class thing, but get those connections done too, and just hone in on a couple people like that, and that way you can start really keeping up your business skills, but also work on what you really want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just really want to do that fusion.
And it's merging, and it's also like, I mean, it sounds like it sounds like a really hard work. It sounds like a very hippie like way to do things, like the whole bartering idea. But it's something that people really, really look over a lot, especially when you're just trying to break into basically any industry, right? Like you see, like if you want a mentor in something, like no one's going to have the time these days to like actually take you aside and mentor you. So you need to figure out a way, and you have these skills that like every single business wants, right? And especially in the arts where there's just dwindling funds throughout, and it's really hard for, so for dance companies, for any type of company to stay open without without some legitimate help and that type of savviness, especially like social media and these things. And if you could tie that together and just be like, this is how much I charge clients. I mean, really just have like a proposal, like Erin says, and just have a price in mind and be like, I'd be willing, I love taking classes here, I'm willing to work out some type of barter. And especially in the arts, people are a lot more open to that. But you have like something that's very there's a price tag for it, right? Like there's already a price tag for it. Like that they know that they're going to spend thousands of dollars if they have to hire somebody to do something or set up, even say, hey, look, this is what your strategy should be, and I can at least get you in the right direction. How about, we work something out? And you'd be surprised how many people are more than willing to do that. And I've been willing to do that even for classes for my kids. Like, just people, like I know people that they're taking classes from are kind of struggling, and they need help for something, and I'd be like, okay, I can set you up with this, and how about this is what I usually charge, how about we trade this many classes or whatever. So like from both ends,
really a good idea. I never would have thought of that.
Yep. And people just don't think of it, because you just think like, like you don't want to be like Little House on the Prairie. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself here, where the doctor is only getting bushels of apples for his services, right?
Yeah,
but
no.
like but the reality is, like if you have been an entrepreneur in some way, you've created a podcast in the past, you've consulted people, you do copywriting. I mean, these are all things that take time that people do not have to do when you're also running a brick and mortar business. And I think before you even moved out there, I was just like, the industry, there's so much opportunity in the industry to work, and I would really pick out like, where do you want to be dancing in, like where, like go to the top, right? Like be like, this is where I want to be dancing, this is my end goal, and be like, okay, look at what they need and put yourself out there. And then if that doesn't work out, you can always go to the studios that you're working out, but like just shoot for it. Like the worst that can happen is they say no, and they can say they don't want to barter and they're going to pay you. Right, like so you get money, right? So like it's just like, oh no, we don't. We've been wanting to hire somebody for that, right? I mean, it can work out in so many different ways.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's honestly been on my mind for a while, but I feel like I got the kick in the butt to like actually like get to work and do it.
Yeah, I think at this point it's not about just like Chandra's saying, okay, you make a top 5 list. I would bet you put together a good proposal. Like, don't even like just be like, hey, what do you think? Like, walk in there and say, all right, I've been doing this analysis on you. You are missing this. This is where you could potentially get. Like, just walk in there, own it, and say, and I want to dance here, and I'm totally willing to help you do this, and I'm willing to barter. This is what I charge. This is what you could do, because, I've learned this working with JJ and working with chiropractors. We are, and I know this is like a 101 lesson, but it's like you can't hear it enough. We are so submersed in the world. Twitter is like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go tweet. It's nothing to us. It's Instagram. Oh, yeah, let's create a meme. Sure. We don't think twice about those things, yet majority of business owners don't know this stuff. They don't know what they're even missing. They don't know. I mean, you could even go and be like, you know what would be a really cool concept is putting together a podcast for this, or just you could they don't think of that because it's so out of their realm of they're just going through the day. They're going through dances. They're going through this. And I mean, you could just go in and just create so much opportunity for them and opportunity for yourself, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Erin on that, and more so like and especially emphasize like go in there with confidence, like you're doing them a favor. I mean, and not with arrogance or anything like that, but like
Right.
you are creating a monetarily valuable thing for them, and not so much. You're not asking for free classes, right? Because that might be in the back of your mind and being like, well, you know, hey, can we trade? And it's hard,
Yeah.
you know, and it's hard. It's like it's doing any pitch, right? But you're creating something that like they need and they want and they probably know it, but like just go in with the confidence and like Erin says, like a sales sheet or something, and just be like a breakdown, right? A proposal is straight out and be like, this is what you need. You know, an Instagram drive, like can, you know, it's like the new thing that so many people are talking about, and they're talking a lot about it in our world, but like I see dance, like I and she's constant every day she'll post like a video or a picture and thousands of people go towards it, and whatever company or show she's in, people are going to go for that, but like it's probably not on a lot of studios' radar, right? Like Instagram or they see it, but just like, oh, it's a personal thing and don't think of using it as a business. But like go into it knowing that you are doing them a favor, and you're doing them another favor by being willing to trade for dance time and not just money if they don't have the money to pay you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
you're doing
think
them.
well, like Chandra said, I think the hardest thing is to get over is going to be you really want them more than they probably want you right now. So, like she was saying, that kind of level of confidence. But I mean, just own it. You know?
Well, yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted, obviously. See where I am by next week.
All right. All right, Chandra, let's talk.
Oh, more about me? What?
No, let's talk Kickstarter. Like you're gonna have a lot of lessons learned in a couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah, we'll have a lot of lessons learned, and so luckily, both my husband and I are serious research hounds. Like we just love to research stuff. It's something that I absolutely love to do, and he did a comic book. Like we've been working on it for about a year, and it's almost done. And he's submitted it to a couple of different places, and like the final step is basically you get enough no's or just basically nothing back, and it's Kickstarter. So he's been studying for the past like 2 years. He's been studying Kickstarter. So we have all these spreadsheets and stuff of like what are great Kickstarters, and I know how to go into the back end and basically look at every single Kickstarter stats and things of that nature, which is cool to see like which ones work, why, where people are coming from, and things like that. So we've done a lot of research on it, and know that, you know, when you launch on the 1st or the 15th, those are better days, or Tuesday is a better day. Like, so we have all these little things that we've kind of just been like, okay, we're going to do this, but it'll be interesting to see. And I feel like this is more rushed than I would like it to be, but isn't it always, right? Like, it's just like, oh, it's always just like, well, it's not perfect, you know, and that perfectionist thing comes in, and it's not even that it's not perfect. Like I shot like the final wrap of video yesterday, and I'm waiting on sound bits from my sister to come to me for today, and I don't know how, and stitching that all together, like video editing is just really time intensive, so I just know I'm going to have a long night ahead of me, and we'll see. But yeah, and I think we're doing 45 days, even though like I was hoping to do 30 days, and we've recommended $10,000 to start, and my sister was just like, let's do $5,000 because she's freaking out. She's like, I need to, you know, because it's not a high ticket item, but the average, it's interesting looking at all the averages. Like the average funder is about $45, even for a low budget thing, just because people want to support, right? So they'll buy for a team, or they'll buy for whatever. And if you can't get more than, it's like the I think it's Tim Grawl, who I absolutely love, who does your first 1,000 copies. He's like he does Outthink, and he's just like, your first 250 customers are your family and friends, right? Like, but once you get to 1,000, and this is for book sales, but it can apply to anything. Once you get to 1,000, you have like a solid fan base who will like either buy more, or like they're people that you can get to basically follow you around. And that's for book stuff, and this is a single invention, but we'll see how it goes. It's a product, and it's just been an interesting negotiating, trying to let someone know who's new to the whole thing how to price, and there's just a lot. It's the accelerated track of entrepreneurship, and just being like, hey, just because a company makes $1 million doesn't mean they make $1 million, right? I know a lot of companies that have gone out of that are multi-million-dollar companies. They go out of business all the time, or burnout, or whatever, and people just have these numbers in their heads, and they're just like, whoa, and it's just like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not, $10,000 isn't going to make a business, $20,000 isn't going to make a business. You need to have a growth plan and stay on track. So we'll see how it goes. I hope it goes well, and our relationship stays intact.
Yeah, I don't. My sister came to me for business advice one time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's super easy to do. And I said, all you need to do is this, 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 this. She's like, oh, I already know what to do. Like, she's like, I can do this, this. And I'm like, then why did you freaking ask? Why did you ask me? Like, seriously, go do it then. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. And that's why. And then I feel, and I started coaching, and I started my Moxie Moguls to be, I started Moxie Moguls to be like basically going the coach route, and I thought maybe, I was just like, maybe it's me, and then going through this again, and I just got burned out pretty fast, and I had great clients and stuff, but it is that there's a certain stage where it's just like, I just am over it. It's just like, I'm telling you, like, through mistakes and seeing millions of people, like, it's just like, I'm telling you what's going to make your life easier, but you still need to, and I was the same way when I was first starting out, like, you still need to go through the motions and do that, but, like, I don't want you to fall flat on your face, especially when my money and time is involved, like, it's just like, just take the advice. If I have any advice for anybody out there doing a launch or starting out, and just be like, and I said this last week too, and I don't know if, or maybe the show that wasn't recorded, but it's just like, if there's someone who's been in business for a long time, or doing something that you want to do for a long time, and a lot of different facets, just kind of take it with a grain of salt. I know I'm stubborn. I understand, like, I totally need to learn stuff on my own, but, like, if you're at that point, then that's great. Don't waste the other person's time, and because, like, well, I mean, typically it would cost, it would cost somebody a lot of money to have me do this for them, and she's getting this as, like, I'm an investor in a company, so, like, I'm hoping to see this on the back end, so I especially don't want to see it fall flat. And it's a good product. It's called Loop Laces, and it'll be out tomorrow. Well, I'll send everybody the link.
Yes.
No, it's funny. I was going to say, so the whole, like, don't listen. I just tell a story, like, I'm approaching a year. Actually, tomorrow, I think, is, like, the year when I first announced the Starters Club. And I was doing, like, lessons learned, right? And I remember sitting in a Brendan Bouchard event, and he's like, listen, all I can say is start with one thing, just focus on that one, build that one. And I'm like, he doesn't know me. I'm not going to listen. So I'm like, I'm going to start this and this and this. Oh, and then I'm going to start this. And I am paying the price greatly. I've almost buried myself out of this pile. But it's so true. I sat back like, oh, but I'll do it different and I'll show him and blah, blah, blah. Not that he cares or he's worried about me right now. It's happening. But it's just like, it totally was that. It's like, I didn't listen. I didn't listen at all. And now I'm like, he was right. Yep, he was right. So
it's hard. Sorry, go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, I was going to say that's something that I've been talking to like my mentor about recently too, because I feel like all of us in this group are so similar in that we want to attack everything and we want to be the best at everything, which isn't possible all the time. But yeah, she was just saying like it's okay, like you can still have the other things, but you have to, hone in on this one, maybe shelf them for now, and maybe those things will just resurface and you'll go in that direction. So, but it is all about that one thing, and it is kind of hard to focus yourself sometimes on that one thing, because then you don't know it until you're paying the price, like you're saying, Erin.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like especially this past week, like I was so stupid. I just committed to so much, and then I got sick, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I did a court, and I don't even want to go back because I'm like, saying something that taking a drink. I mean, I kept like muting my microphone. Obviously, I'm not coughing into it, but I'm like I'm out of breath, and I'm like, this sounds horrible. And then like I would be so worn out, and my voice would be shot from like recording these. But I had to get them done, and I'm still behind. I still have a long list of stuff to do. But it's like, and I've noticed like this year, I've never been sick this many times. Like I was just thinking about recording my podcast, and I must sound like. I think like a third of my podcasts sound, I'm like, oh, like I'm nasally and don't have a voice, and it's totally because I just took on too much, like, and it's my own damn fault. I should have just done the Ultimate Starters course and really focused on that and relaunched that and gotten better and better, but honest to God, you guys, by the time this year finishes, like by tomorrow, I need to finish them, but it'll be probably the next week. 7 courses. 7.
Wow.
Who puts together
awesome.
I mean, that's great, but that's ridiculous. Like, I've got them all developed, but I can't market them at all because I'm like so busy making them. It's just, it was stupid. It was totally stupid. So.
Well, it's not. It's hard. I mean, we've all been lied to that we can have it all. Like, right. I mean, that is the like reality of life. Like, we've been raised our entire lives to be like, and it's great that like, I mean, I don't know, like the way you guys grew up. Like my parents, my mom, everybody is just like, you can do anything you want to do. So I've never had that, like, that's been like a huge propeller in my life because I'm just like, I can do anything I want to do. Like, that's a fact. But I think it's an Oprah course. It's like, you can have anything you want. You just can't have it all now. Right? Like, it can't be all at the same time, and something has got to give, and it's just really hard. It's like you keep on learning the same lessons until you're just going to get clobbered with them. I'm the sickest. It's been years since I've been sick even once, and this is like the 3rd time that I'm sick as well, and I don't feel like I'm overextending myself because I haven't like delivered anything, which is like, really like a bummer. Well, I guess I developed a course, but I didn't launch it. I just need to like I'm guessing the second, because we're like a third of the way. Tomorrow is like 2nd month of Q2.
Say that.
Sorry.
Okay.
However, but like this is like Q2 is always, and I do think in quarters, and Q2 is always this it's the hump, right? Like we're like right, it's like right, it's that like just you're rowing, you're just like and you don't feel like there's any end in sight, but like I think we all need to like sit down and write our own, like just be like, okay, what is it that we want to like accomplished, like totally done, because I feel like I don't feel like I'm on the hamster wheel as much as I have in the past of just like run, like somebody's holding my head and I'm trying to run. I feel like I'm moving forward, but it's just not I don't know. I don't know why. Like, you have 7 courses, Erin, and like, what do you think has stopped you from like diving in on one of those and being like, okay, this is the starting point, right, of just like the series or whatever it is.
Well, I think for me, so the hardest thing that's been for me is that when I first started my business, I had this ideal situation in mind, right, of who I was going to attract and what I was going to do and all of this stuff. So what happened was I found that the Cairo thing was so random, but I saw that as a really easy, and that honestly is one of my bestseller courses because so many people know me in that field just because of JJ, and it's an easy sell. They really need that. But so that was just kind of this no-brainer. But on the other ones, like I really felt, okay, the Starters Club, the Ultimate Starters course that I put together, this was going to be the course. But I had a really hard time finding those people because who I attracted and who I found via the podcast and all, like what I was just talking to people and people who found me were the people in the very beginnings of their business. So I was like, oh, well, you know what? And then people would start asking me to speak, right? I said, oh, I'm going to be a speaker, and they're like, what do you speak about? I'm like, social media? Like, I didn't even know. Like, it was, like, so bad. And then all of a sudden I started speaking about social media, and people are like, you're a genius. And they're like, how do I? I'm like, go find me on Twitter. Like, it was so unprepared and just so, like, sporadic. Because I'm like, I got social media figured out. You want to learn? And, so it was, and so then I put a course behind that, and then it was just talking to people. I'm trying to think of all of them. There's just people trying to find, and I have 10 people who are going through this trial of this course that I put together of really how to connect and really find your customer, and I still need to put those 2 modules together. So there's all these things like I have to fill, and then I was a complete idiot. This is where you need to learn to say no. I shouldn't call myself an idiot, but this person asked me to be in this virtual summit thing, and they were like, well, we already have somebody who talks about like the stuff I would have talked about. Like, could you talk about podcasting? And so I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, I'll put together a course about, it was so stupid to like I'll put together a course about podcasting, and I kicked my butt putting that course together, but it's okay because they're created now, and honestly for that course I'm going to try something like JV Zoo because that's not my forte. That's not who, but it's there, it's developed. I might as well, put it out there because that's the whole thing. That's the hardest thing I found for me was the product creation because I was meeting people and speaking, and I've learned that's my forte, videos and speaking. That's where I really connect with the audience. But I've learned that you have to have the products to sell behind them, even if you're keynoting, because people want that connection with you. They want to continue forward. So I've created products tied to the speeches, and now I've kind of come back around to the Ultimate Starters course, and that's what I'm in launch right now. And eventually I want to evergreen that because the potential in that course is like hooking up with coaches and everything, because it's the stuff nobody wants to teach. It's the go build a website, and people are like, what does that mean? Or the go market, and I like go down numbers. I'm like, if you're gonna you better know that every dollar you spend, what that generates you, and you better have a plan to figure that out. Granted, you're not going to know immediately, but these are the things you have got to know. So it could be like a good partnership program where it's like, listen, I know you're not teaching this. I know you're teaching the la stuff, right? It's important that you're like.
And that is a big problem, especially at the start. Is like you don't know what you don't know when you're starting, right? Like you don't know that, like, okay, I need to know what my ROI is, right? Like of time and money, and
yes.
That takes a while of being in business or giving up once or twice on certain things to really realize, and it's kind of a hard niche. I mean, it doesn't seem like a hard niche because there's so many people at the beginning, but like what's sexy is like, all right, mind map and do this and dream about it and plan and plan and plan, and then like, oh, the numbers, no, I don't want to know I don't want to know that I need security on my website, which everybody, we can talk about this before we close out, but like if you have a WordPress website, you should change, like definitely update it, any updates that are going on, and refresh. But like none of that stuff is sexy, you know?
Right.
Like it's just not. And people are just like, it's total housekeeping. It's just like, oh, I clean my bathroom or go and sit and drink a mimosa on the deck. I'm gonna go with B, right?
Well, and it's those things that keep people from being starting half the time, and B, being successful. It's like you've got to, you don't have to, because they're like, oh, I have to hire a web designer. You don't have to. You can start doing your own thing, and it's not that hard. You don't have to have the sexiest website in the world, but you can start. And it's a hard sell, because I'm trying to convince. I've realized, everything's a journey, and this is one thing I really talk about. And what I've really discovered is I will always keep that program, because I think it's so important. Like, it really is important to me just to have that place for people to go. Because even, I saw it in Brendan Bouchard events. Like, he's just like, go be an expert and go get people to sign up for your list. And people are like, with what? Like, MailChimp, Aweber, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just these simple, or the email campaign. Like, one of the biggest lessons I learned was, at first, it was just, I didn't know what I was going to do with them. I just wanted an email address. There was no focus. There was no goal. It was like, okay, I'll just get an email address. But now I spreadsheet everything. So I know where you're coming in and what I want to talk to you about and where it's going to go. Like, everything has a plan. And if I would have done that at the beginning, I would have saved myself a whole lot of headache. But again, everybody's like, just create an email, opt in, and it's so easy, and all that stuff. It's just like, I want to be the real and honest voice of entrepreneurship, but you're right, Chandra, sometimes people don't want to hear that. They're just like, And
also, like, I think a lot of people they forget, right? Because you just get to be at a certain point and you forget. There's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten, because I've been, building websites since 2006, right? So, like, there is a lot of stuff that I'm just like, oh, here we go. Right. And then there's also so many options, and there's no one answer, right? Like I tried I tried MailChimp for a little while, and I tried Aweber, and what works best for me is GetResponse. But like somebody else might be, and people need to be okay that there are a million different answers. Right. And that's great that you're, you are providing a step-by-step, because so many people don't want to even put themselves out there as the expert, because there are so many options, and it's a kind of disservice to communities. So everybody, go to the Starters Club if you're just starting.
And that's the thing too. You could get caught in analysis paralysis, right? I mean,
totally.
And the thing is, it's like with what I always tell people with hosting. I'm sure you will find somebody who hates every single company that's out there, and you're gonna find here's who I recommend. I'm not saying they're the best. I know they're not the worst. They've done really well for me, and this is all, this is all I can tell you. You decide. But at some point, you cannot get trapped. Like, you've got to start. And if like you said, start with Aweber or start with MailChimp. And if it sucks, move to something else. If you love it, continue with it. Like, you can't sit there, and I think that's another thing people get so caught up. Well, Squarespace, that Weebly or whatever that's called, I don't even know, Wix.
Weebly, and it's really hard. I think this is a woman thing, in particular, and there are a lot of men who get analysis paralysis as well. So but in general, I think deciding, and I've come to the conclusion. I don't know if I said this last time, why we don't want to say we don't know things, and I think it's because genetically, like, we have babies, so like. People, our race would die if we didn't know all the time, right? Like, the kid would eat the wrong berry, and the community would just like go. So I think, like, it's ingrained in our head that women, like, you want to know what the right answer is. You want to pay somebody to tell you what's the right answer, but there's not one. Sorry, there's just more questions, and it's just like, just go with invest in a person. I think I heard Tim Ferriss just interviewed on a creative, the Unmistakable Creative, recently, and he's like, he talked about Simon Sinek's like know your why, but he's like, I'm working on know your who, right? Like, so he's taking the same thing, like, and just being like, okay, he's working it for what works for him. He's a great networker. He has like he has access to like the top people in whatever field, and he's like, I'm gonna work my way out to like know what works best for you, and someone that you can communicate with, like, you know, Erin, like in this whole world of who I wanted to hang out with at Podcast Movement, like it was you, because I was just like, oh, she's real. You weren't, but like seriously, I mean, like, and I had my choice of like, everybody there had their choice because it was such a small event of who they wanted to like hang out with, and there were people that were really, really high up, and you're just like, meh. You know, I want to hang out with people who, well, at some point we'll all start drinking again, but whatever.
No, but I think it's, yeah, and I agree. Like you really, and I know I've been a great networker before. This one's been a hard one, but I think too, where I was going with it, I've really found the path like I want to take is I want to do a lot of motivational. I really want to get into having the program to help people get that, but really, you know, I just posted a video. It's actually going to go on Facebook here in about 2 minutes. But I was part of a mom's group, and the question came up of, you know, our kids are 3 and 4, and they're like, what are you going to do when the kids go back to school? And they're like, oh, I'll get a job here, I'll get a job there, and I'll get a, you know, and everybody was like, some people were excited about going into nursing, I don't know, but everybody had this, I've got to fit into this. And I was like, well, what would you do if you could do anything you wanted? Like, and nobody had an answer. I was like the crazy, whacked out person who would suggest such a crazy thing. And I'm like, why not? Why can't you write your own rules? Why can't you define whatever you want? If you don't want to go get a job and you want to have some flexibility, why couldn't you? But it's such this whole concept.
Societal stigma.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's a mental thing. Like everybody wants to do like what you're supposed to do, and then you will reach that epitome, like that balance is going to be perfect. And I'm like, no, it doesn't exist, and you've been lied to, and it's just like, so nothing is going to happen for you unless you go out and like you take it, right? Like for what it is. It's like it's the same reason why we homeschool, because I'm just like, I can't sit and I don't complain about things, right? Like if I don't like something, I change it or I move on, right? And it's just like, and it's the same with, I can't sit and complain about our education system and send my kids to school, you know, like even though like it's the last thing that I want to do, and sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in like people around me all the time, but like it's just like there are no rules. Everybody, there are no rules. You are making up, you know, like whatever it is, it's just go and do. And it does drive me crazy, like when people are like, oh, you're so lucky you have, and I'm like, no,
I hate you're lucky. It's the worst thing you could say to me.
I'm not lucky to travel. I'm not lucky to do like I've made sacrifices that you have no idea, and I don't know what sacrifices you've made to get to where you are. But don't say that, you know, like, oh, well, you were, you know, like and it's just like, no, yes, I was lucky to the family I was born into to have encouragement and a loving family, and that's it. Everything else was worked hard for.
No, my mom told me that. My mom always, oh, Erin, you're so lucky. And it drove me nuts because I was talking about how I had met, when I went out to Brendan Bouchard's 10X event, like who I met, and I was all excited. And she was like, oh, God, you know, everything just falls into your lap, you know? Of course it would happen to you. I'm like, no.
You put yourself there. You put yourself in that position for that to happen to you.
Like I've worked to be able to pay for that.
Show up.
I showed up. I show up all the time, and I showed up to that event. I had you flown out here so you could take care of my kids for 4 days. Like, no, this was not luck. And that's where I think that's my mission in life, is to encourage people of this. Like, what I think breaks my heart the most, and this is what I talked about, was if you ask somebody, what do you love? What do you love to do? And, you know, because everybody's like, live your passion. But I would say about 80 to 90% of Americans, I don't know about the world, have no freaking idea what their passion is.
And it's a disservice. It's a disservice to say that to people. It really is. Yes.
Yeah.
Go, Erin.
We
Sorry.
teach people to be slaves in school.
Yeah. Right. Go
teach people
study.
to follow directions.
Yeah. So as I'm like, obviously you see my like excitement about this.
Yeah.
But this is where I really, like my book is about that, and I really want to get into the speaking route. And I'm just realizing, like, I talk about this in that video. I'm like, okay, our love falls into, or our happiness and excitement gets to be able to take the kids to Disney World or pay off a credit card bill. And yeah, you deserve to love that, absolutely. But that's jacked up when that's the height of your excitement. Like, I'm talking about, like, what gets you so revved up that your heart just bursts. Like, you could do it for free if you could do this. But it's not like I got a JOB of listed up there of, okay, go be, this is exactly what you have to do to, if you're excited about this, like you want to help people start businesses, this is your, go to school for this and become this. You have to create your own path. And I know there's people who do it already. I'm not saying I'm, like, redefining a business, but it's my own path. It's how I want to do it. I want to, but it's like I've realized that mission when I posted a question of what would you love to do, and everybody was like, really?
Yeah, and I post it like whenever the lotto is super, super high, I will always post on my page. I'll post you win the lotto, but you have to work for the rest of your life. Like, you have to do something. Like, it doesn't matter. You're taken care of, but you have to work. And it's very interesting, like, people don't, like, and I think it comes down to, like, it is really knowing your why. Like, Simon Sinek has a course, like, and it's just like, you know what, if you're grappling with that, like, and don't really know your passions, and you've just kind of sunk your way and just been like, okay, I go to school, I go to college, I get my job, I have my kids, I go to work, I live for the weekends. And if you're not happy with that, some people are very happy with that. Not a lot, but some people are. Right. If you're not happy with that, then find another way. And just, like, there's just a way. We live in, like, amazing, amazing times where you can really do anything with what you got. We just do.
It's true. Like, I was going to say, I know we're really running over, but I met this guy when I was out in California in November. And I was there, and where I was staying, the 49ers were staying. And he was there, and he was this New Jersey guy, and he literally, his business was and this is where you're just like, I don't even know where to begin on your business, but he defined it. And he meets up with Best Buy, like, at the docks or whatever, but basically he takes Best Buy open box items and buys them for cheap from Best Buy and sells them on eBay. And this guy has created this life that's all he does, and he travels the freaking nation following the 49ers around town, and he's in New Jersey, and he shows up at all their home games and goes everywhere, and that's what he's done. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, that is amazing. Like, you just figured that out, and now you get to do whatever, you get to follow the 49ers everywhere, and that's what you love to do, and this is, like, amazing. And there'd be so many people who are like, oh, he's so lucky that he gets to follow. No, a guy figured out a pretty damn good thing for himself, and that's how he's doing it. But we're all just so, like you guys have said, we're all just so, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm a girl, I'm a mom, so I got to be a teacher or a nurse so I can have some flexibility in my schedule. Like, that's what you do. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. I don't do that. Like, and I am doing really rather well, So.
And there is no supposed. Like, that is something that just keeps on coming up over and over. There's no supposed to do. Like, it's just like your way or whatever. And it's not like, we lost Taylor. There we are. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. We're over.
I know we're over.
We could talk for a full 24 hours, I think, on
that. So yeah, I have not like I said, it's alive on my Facebook page now, so you can go see me. Like,
yeah.
What the hell?
Can't wait to watch it.
All right. Well, it's a long one too, but I was. I just couldn't. You guys, I was shocked. I was shocked when I asked the question of what do you love to do, and everybody just my kids. No, your kids don't count. Your kids don't.
Yeah, and that is a real hard thing to do is to like say, okay, well, I love doing this, like especially if people are taking our caregivers in any way, and it's just like, no, that's not, you have to have something, or you're going to be lost in 10 years when, they're not, it's our job to send them on their way.
Exactly.
Like, they don't need us.
Not breastfeed up till they're 30 years old.
No.
All right, guys. Well, conversation always keeps going over at bit.ly/no business. Hopefully you'll join us over there. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you, ladies, for coming. And hopefully, Chandra, you feel better and I'm normal by next week.
Hope you both feel better.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.